subscribe.
The Angry Ops Guy Podcast.
I'm the angry ops guy, hanging by a thread, living on Prozac, the meds from my head, jaded and burned out, ADHD and overdrive, manage your life, running on a wire, I love it, I hate it, I'm past repair, the angry ops guy, just another day.
Welcome back to the Angry Ops Guy podcast. Ops Mike here, and I have another guest. And this guest does not want to be here. She denied me the first couple of times, but she is here. And I have Miss Cheryl Baldwin from Head Office, the OG Ops lady. She is the Director of Marketing and Communications for WSI World. She has been part of the network and part of Head Office for 22 years now, even though she looks like she just got hired 3 or 4 years ago. Cheryl, thank you so much for coming on with me. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I don't know if I would say I declined you the first couple times. I might have left you unread, but
Nice. That's like everybody at Head Office when they see an email from Mike. It's like, oh no. No, you just didn't know what you were getting into, and you thought that this was going to be like a celebrity roast, but it's nothing farther from the truth. Because when I was looking at my guest lineup and inviting people to come on, and kind of figuring out what to do, is how could I not have you on? Because you are the OG Ops lady, and at least in my eyes, because everybody knows you in the WSI network or has seen you in some capacity because you're on everything that Head Office puts out to us. You are really one of those physical figureheads on camera, and we see you running around like a mad woman at convention, which we'll get into and so forth. But ops has been your life. You have been a fulfillment person, a creative person. So yes, I've been talking with other operators. I've been talking with VP of operations, chief operating officers, and so forth. But operations with head office is still operations. And, I wanted to have you on. So I'm so glad you're here. She
Happy
looks
to be
very
here.
anxious and very stressed as to
Okay.
what the hell's coming. She's already killing herself laughing at me. But we've known each other a long time.
Yeah.
And before we talk about our history and some other things that are going to be important for the WSI network and other people to listen to, I'd love to kind of give you the floor and just tell people about your story, because again, 22 years at WSI head office, that's a long time. And obviously you've moved up the chain into now the pivotal director of marketing communications, the spearhead of everything that goes out to help us in the network. But tell us about that journey, because it shows your loyalty, but your tenure of progressing through the WSI ecosystem.
Yeah, it's funny. Whenever we do our introductions for a new IC training, Rima tends to go ahead. I kind of talk, and then Rima goes ahead of me. And Rima joined a couple months after I did. So in 2004, and she always makes a joke that they were hiring child laborers at the time. But yeah, I graduated university, like I was telling you, in May of 2003. So you can add up those years on how old I am. And I joined WSI in November of 2003. So not a long time in between graduating and getting my kind of first professional job, but I actually, interestingly enough, came in as the e-store manager. For those that have been with our network for a while, I've journeyed through and had different positions here and there. And we used to run our own WSI e-store for selling printed materials, brochures, promo items, all that sort of stuff. And it was my job to go into training classes and sell all of this stuff, manage communications that were going out for that, and deliver things to people. I'd go in at the start of the week and then deliver them to the end of the week. Actually, that's how I got to know Doug Schuss so well, because it was his team that was producing all the materials that I would would then sell out to our consultants. And so they'd leave our home office with a bunch of brochures, business cards, all that sort of stuff to take home with them. And Val actually was my final interview when I joined WSI.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's always interesting because we always kind of mention that, but I still remember to this day that interview with her, and she'd ask you like these very poignant behavioral type questions. And so, yeah, it's funny because, I've worked with her in various different capacities in and out over the years, and obviously closer now. But yeah, that's how I joined. Um, it was a little bit of a revenue engine just for the company, and Dan and Val just saw that I was, dedicated and persistent, and I guess had some sort of skill there with talking and communications, and it just landed me more opportunities in other projects as they came along. I got very involved in our websites and what that looked like and all the iterations over the years. Uh, got brought into more communications along the way, even some of the product and marketing stuff and working with our suppliers. And then, yeah, just naturally was given the opportunity to head up the marketing and communications team more at my end. So I've been in that role for a few years now, definitely. And, the team is kind of like a little small power engine that we've built. We have to do a lot as it relates to not only working with, supporting our consultant network and our agencies that come in, but we are an internal support system for the rest of the teams as well. As you can imagine, a lot of other teams need communications sent out, things to look pretty. I'm always told to make things look pretty at our end. And, we obviously work a lot on bringing people into the network too with our sales team. And so, yeah, just different positions here and there. And I've netted out as the head of marketing communications. And I've always been a little bit involved in convention along the way. And that eventually just hit my plate more as well over the last few years.
I love how you say little bit of convention, which I'm going to get into later, because that is an absolute lie that you do a little bit at convention. I've never seen a woman run around more like she's on fire for an entire week, making sure everything is working optimally than you and your team. But you are the spearhead of convention. We'll get there. But with the role you're in now, you mentioned you've been there a few years now in that role. How long have you been in that director role?
Yeah, I probably lost count. I mean, I definitely probably since my last mat leave was about 10 years ago or so.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I heard as well, just on the theme about Valerie. I talk a little bit about Valerie on some episodes, basically calling her out to come on the podcast or to try to send me legal documentation to cease and stop. By the way, Val, if you're listening, which you should, because Cheryl is one of your loyal lieutenants, is that I did send you an email with an invitation to come on and talk on this podcast, and you have not replied to me. So clearly, I'm still on unread, or you just deleted me like Cheryl wishes she could do. So
she's probably just waiting to hear how you roast me to know if she wants to come on or not, Mike.
Yeah, well, Valerie controls a lot, and she could probably squash my career if she really wanted to. So
she would never.
But going back to Valerie, I heard through the grapevine, not to give any secrets, but I heard Valerie was an ops lady back in the day too, before her whole president title and other things she's done in her career, because she is a mainstay at WSI for a long time. But I heard that she used to be in operations.
Yeah. I mean, if you do get Val on the podcast, she has a very interesting background from where she's from and all that sort of stuff. But she's comes from an education background, actually, has very good learning in what it means to kind of build and construct education for adults and whatnot. So she actually headed up, it used to be called our knowledge management division, which was essentially a higher structure for education and a couple of different things. And so she was very involved. And she always still will weigh in on structures of how we're educating and stuff, because that's a key set that she came with when she joined WSI. So yeah, she very much is in the ops side. She's also ebbed and flowed a little bit in her own career, and obviously president now, but she has a really good, just strong business acumen, right, across all kind of components, which makes that progress make sense for sure.
See, Valerie, I didn't just want to have you on as the president. I knew that you were in operation, so you can talk ops. You better reply to me, Val. I'm going to see you soon. Okay, back to Cheryl here. So, Cheryl, again, with that journey you've been on, and again, obviously the podcast is centralized around operations and just the hell that operations is, because operations people know how to work at a different pace than others. There's a million projects on the go, and you know that better than anybody. Um, I'm just going to ask you a bold question. What do you love about ops that, 22 years in, as you've matured, you've grown, you've now got a team under you versus just being an individual? What keeps you going that just, to attack and fulfill and just do all that you do? Because again, I've said with many guests, and even when I had Christina as a co-host in season one, operations people just strive for fulfillment, but again, we do beat to a different drum, and you just got to be wired to want to do this stuff. So what is it for you that you kind of identify now with some good longevity under your belt to kind of zero in on what makes you get up every morning and say, let's keep doing this, versus let's burn it to the ground?
um, Yeah, I mean, I feel like we all have some of those moments in us, but like, for me, anyways, I've always been a person that just loves to get things done. And I don't know if that's like me growing. So, if you're not aware, some people are. I'm grew up on a pig farm. Like, I'm a farm girl. I grew up in the country, very busy, in and out of, like, when my friends were spending their summers by the pool, I was unloading hay, and my brothers and I were doing haying all summer long. And so you always had to get things done. There wasn't like leaving things undone in an environment like that. And I kind of was always built to just like, if you have a job, you got to scratch it off and do it. And that things are always changing, like the seasons, things change in that retrospect. And so for me, you know, I like being busy. I like having things to do. I like the concept that things aren't always the same. Things are always changing. There's always stuff popping up. We're always having to keep. I like the structure of keeping things organized. I'm kind of an organized person. I probably have better organized days than others, where sometimes things get away. Like everyone, things just get away from you. But I like the concept of knowing what's going on across various elements of the business. And so understanding what works, how things work, and helping things work better is kind of where I've always really been very interested. And I mean, with WSI, I mean, as you guys know, things change all the time.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing. We're not always doing the same thing over and over and over again. Things are changing. I think that's why we probably have people in our management team specifically with such long tenure. I was just on our weekly huddle. We just celebrated Daniel Latanzio and Mike Monahan's 29th year with
Get
W.
out. 29, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. Val equally has a similar tenure. You just heard Rima joined a couple months after I did. We have a lot of tenure on our management team. And I think it's just because we're all kind of, we're always excited on what's going to happen next and how are things are going to evolve and change. And from my perspective, you know, marketing ops is especially interesting just from that marketing standpoint. You get to kind of look at all different audiences, all talk to people differently, think about how people may look at things in a different perspective, and kind of always change with the flow based on what you're trying to do and who you're trying to reach.
See, I've known you almost my entire career at WSI. I mean, I formally met you a couple of years in, when probably the first convention I went to, because didn't have a lot of exposure to head office people prior to that, just
Yeah.
being, the PM grunt, at the office. But I didn't see, I learned something about you, and I've known you for a long time. I didn't know that you grew up on a farm, but now I kind of connects into me as just, there's where like you said, with that, there's where the work ethic comes from. There's where that
Yeah.
perseverance and push comes from is it comes from your upbringing, and now you just translate it into the digital space as you progressed into your career. I did not know that.
Yeah. I always tell my parents sometimes their building of my work ethic has always been a strength, but also like a weakness because it's like I'm just built to be like, oh, I need to get it done. And so sometimes that means, late hours in the night just to make sure things get done, especially when we talk about convention coming up. Like they're
It's
forget
like
about
your
the
it's
nine
like
to
your
five.
tax it's like your tax season. It's like that 6 weeks of hell of just being like, leave me alone, and I've just got to get through this so I can hibernate for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, there's a lot obviously that comes into building an event like that, especially I mean, we're just over 2 months away. You know what I mean? Like, so I was just saying to the team, I mean, okay, like we're getting into crunch time. This is when all the details need to be ironed out. This is when we need to start putting stuff together, start getting things ready for printers, for everything. Like, yeah, that's kind of where it comes down to. But I mean, while it's a lot of work and we all do it in a above and beyond like all the other stuff, convention kind of sits on top of everything. um it's so rewarding though when we get there and we see everyone and at the end where we're all just like kind of celebrating and enjoying being around each other. I mean, that's worth it.
So before we get into convention, because that's a topic I did want to highlight with you, knowing how much of a mainstay and integral piece you are to fulfilling that from the marketing, WSI head office marketing side, and what you have to facilitate through those days. Just wanted to say, like when you were mentioning about the other team members in the leadership at WSI, like that's very rare, in my opinion. In like, I don't want to say today's world, but like it's very rare to have a group of people that effectively, no matter ages, because you're all different ages, but to
Yeah.
grow up together, again, 20, 25, 30 years together. And again, it is like a family in its own way. And that's what everybody laughs about in a sense with WSI is like, you all drink from the Kool-Aid and you're all like this and that. I've said on numerous podcasts, Greg Weston, God love him, had the best. He's at the first, Greg's going to hate me. He's going to want royalties every time I tell the story, but he said, he came up to me and we hit it off right away. And, we both had a couple of cocktails and stuff. And he comes to me and he goes, "You guys are fucking nuts." And I said to him, what do you mean? Because I know he's newer. And he goes, "You guys
Yeah.
like each other." He's like, "You guys are hugging and chatting and nobody's going to bed and everybody's just talking shop and so forth." But it's like, that's really one of the mainstays of the WSI network that is different than any other network that at least I have been familiar with, is exactly that. Like the coming together of people, there are hugs, there people care about each other and want to be with each other versus that cold conference mentality of like, we're going and we're going to sit in the boardroom and we're going to go through these educational things and then we're going to have a dinner and then we're going to go home. But it's very rigid. And we've even been at a few conference locations together in the last times where they have other conferences there. And we'll walk out and everybody's getting food and a drink and a swag bag and talking. And you're kind of like, guys, get in the rooms. We on a clock here. Then the other people are dumping out and it's quiet and they're cold and it's just like rigid. But like, we're just like going crazy. So, it's not surprising that head office has that family mentality in the people relationships and
Yeah.
how that's kind of transitioned down through the various generations of agency owners to allow that community to be kind of healthy and also very open for new people to come into, because I wouldn't want to be a newbie coming to a convention, simply in the sense of my personality would be like, who's going to talk to me? And like, I'm so and so and whatever else. And that it couldn't be farther than the truth in how we do it. It's
Yeah.
like, come on in. You got WSI on your shirt, you got a WSI badge, your family, get in here and let's start talking shop.
Yeah. I mean, the network and the people are really our like secret sauce if we have one. I like, and sometimes it marvels us, right? Where we're like, man, like just the relationships that people have built, how happy everyone is to see each other. Yes, there's obviously long-standing relationships that have built with specific, people just because of their longevity, but like got off of our FAC call on Monday, and we were talking about how we just like get more people interacting with our top guns and what can we do, because we know that that's something that we want to make sure that we're bringing them everyone into the fold so they feel what everyone else feels as they get to kind of know more people in the network. Yeah, it's why we're trying to do some more structured collaboration stuff to build those connections as well, because we do know like this willingness to share back is a very interesting thing in our network
Yeah.
that I don't know exists in other types of businesses as much as it does ours.
I completely agree with you on that. And again, it must be so rewarding for a tenured head office employee such as yourself that is integral in the leadership side of it to be able to sit back at some point of that week and kind of sit from afar and just watch the room, because you guys are on alert really till the last night, and that's when you can quote unquote put your hair down and finally say let's relax and have a few drinks somewhere else. But when you and others like Mike Monahan, Rima, etc., can sit back and just watch that engagement, that community, the lobby bar rammed at 12 o'clock at night talking digital marketing, like what the
Yeah.
hell. That must be the most rewarding kind of gift back to you guys, in the sense of, this is what we want, is we want this community to stay strong, because, the reality is the older tenured agency owners, the reality, they're retiring.
Mhm.
They've done their 20-25 years of that, and they're selling their agencies, they're getting succession plans in and so forth. So the network has to have those different layers of people based on different tenures of having their agencies to survive, because the network does depend on top guns. They depend on the 20-year vets to give the knowledge, because it can't all come from head office. So you got very smart people that come and help you contribute. But what happens, I've said this so many times, just to pick on names, what happens when Francois Muscat, Peter Jesnewski, Chuck Bankoff, Neil Lappy, and I'm missing so many more, but like mainstays that have been there since, late 90s,
Mhm.
and some of those have contributed so much back to the network, but they are starting to slow down, in the sense of, I have a different perspective on life based on where I'm at with age.
Yeah.
And if we don't allow the different people to fill those footsteps, and have the new people be comfortable to speak up and have a voice, then what's the next generation is going to be, right? Because that's really the reality of it, is we got to get the next people that want to take the lead, because there's a lot of smart people in the network.
There is. And we're seeing more and more of those people, wanting to contribute back and listening to what they're doing. And we have this concept of shining the spotlight at our end, like on people. And so we're always thinking too, like we bringing new faces into that kind of mechanism and communication mechanism, so people are hearing from others in the network, because there's a lot of expertise in our network just based on where people have come from different backgrounds. And I think there are more and more the individuals coming into our network are, kind of, we have them all, we review them all for cultural fit. Val has culture calls with all of the individuals that come into our network and understand, because we are looking for that fit into the rest of our network and people wanting to, share back and build that up. And so, you're us bringing more faces in, that's what we always try and do, us making it more easier for people to kind of share back their learnings in ways, is always great. And allowing our tenured people to have those succession plans, that's what it's all about. I mean, you guys are building businesses so you can get to that point, right? And so it's all kind of gravy for us in allowing that to happen, but bringing others people into the fold and building up those networks and relationships. I mean, it's why we think being in and at convention in person is such a big thing, because this is where conversations happen, right? And sometimes it happens in between sessions, a lot of the times it can happen at the pool or while you're at, like you said, at the lobby. Like these conversations happen very informally and naturally. And so that's why we want to bring people together in different formats so those things can happen and people can get to know others very easily.
You just beat me to it. I was going to say, without interjecting, I was going to say some of the best conversations and the best times are in the pool after the day of educational learnings and advanced training decks and everything else, where everybody dumps in, and it's like they got to get us out of there because the sun's coming down, because we got to get to dinners and we got to get to evening activities. But head office people are in there. Agencies are in there, suppliers are in there, and it just continues to keep flowing, talking shop. How can you help me with this? What do you think about that? So again, the punchline here, and we're gonna maybe this is, even though we're talking convention, a nice way to transition into some questions I have for you about convention. But if you haven't registered for convention yet, and you listen to this, and you have the ability or capability to get down this year for Cabo in end of May, early June, make sure you register. I have said so much through the first 20 plus episodes. I talk about conventions a lot as a theme, just because of I'm one of the biggest advocates of going. It will open your eyes as to how big the network is compared to the small little agency or small little geo target that you have wherever you are in the world. You will see how much power there is there, in the sense of like-minded people that are willing to support, educate, guide, help, no matter how tenured you are or not. And it will really open your eyes to the bigger picture of what you're a part of, versus even what you can respectfully see on open forum or regional meetings or on the screen now that so many of us are virtual and remote. It is, and especially in a post-COVID world where remote agency, remote digital meeting is really the theme of everything we do. The in-person social, fill your cup, charge your battery. It's unparalleled for that week we go down. So get to convention, people. If you're in the WSI network, it is really one of those things that you will put on your list every year and a half to be able to get excited about. And
Yeah. And just so you guys know, I did not pay him ahead of that to say all this.
I was just going to say to you, you better be paying me a commission for what I just did. I've known Cheryl for 15 plus years. She's like, I'm actually being kind for once, but no, I mean that truth, because I've told this story again. I felt like a broken trainer, but like when I was, it was 2013 was my first convention, Boca Raton, and I didn't want to go. And he said, "What do you don't want to go?" Because I was a project manager. I got deadlines. I got launches. I got stuff to do. And I'm so like in my head. And Peter's smiling at me with his typical smirk, and he's just like, "You're coming." And I'm like, okay. But I didn't realize, like anything, he wanted me to see the bigger picture, because he goes, you can't see it being an office guy. I wasn't on open forums. I didn't join anything. He was the figurehead. I'm just this kid. But I got there and it's like, what is this? And from there, it's been like a drug of just, when's the next one? Because like you said, it's like a family reunion coming together. And when people you don't really know want to give you a hug and say, so nice to see you, it's very heartwarming, and that's the best way I can put it. And me and you laugh because you're one of those people I only see, sadly, maybe once or twice a year in person.
Yeah.
But when I see you at convention, I give you probably the biggest hug where I'm probably breaking your ribs, and you're like, Mike, you're a Neanderthal. But you said to me in the last one, you go, God, you give a good hug, because it's like, I've known you forever, and you got this big smile like you always do, and you make me feel welcome.
Well, that's lovely to hear. I appreciate
Well, you
that.
probably just medicate yourself knowing that you're going to have to see me. You're like, what day are you going to be?
I don't think Neanderthal ever came out of my mouth at any point in time.
Not yet. You called me an ass clown. You called me an ass clown a couple weeks ago on a virtual office.
For context, you gave yourself that name first, and
I'm allowed to, and then you just jumped in. You're like, I'm like, if I do it, nobody else can hurt me. And then Cheryl, you can see the light bulb go on, and Cheryl's like, Mike, did you wear a dunce cap all through school? Were you the one that was the class clown? I'm like, no, I was just the fat one that got picked on. But I just do it to make people laugh. And if I get a reaction out of you, the best part is with you is you just roll your eyes at me because I'm always like, oh, there's the ops wizard, Miss Cheryl. And you're like, oh, settle down. Settle
And
down
then I
and
get
laugh.
the random chat off to the side, which is like, don't tell me to settle down.
Yeah, don't tell me to settle down. I'll do what I want. And you're just like, you have been exited from being a co-host. Yeah, it's WSI Head Office has got me on a muzzle. They've got me blackballed a little bit. So they every time I reach out and say I want to do something or I'm going to offer whatever else, that they have to have a meeting internally, being like, is this good for optics, or do we just delete that email?
But as you said, I mean, I think what's nice for me, anyways, I can speak for myself here, but I'm sure I speak for other home office people is, when we get together and see whether it's at a regional meeting, whether it's at convention, it doesn't feel like there's this big divide between, oh, you're home office, oh, I'm a
No,
consultant, right? And so, and sometimes, that's probably different in other types of organizations where there's this very delineation. But I think, I always enjoy seeing everyone at convention and like catching up and, consider you guys friends, not just people that, we have to service and support. And so that's always been really nice because we always feel that love back from the network too.
So let's talk a little bit. Again, we've talked convention a lot. Let's talk a little bit because obviously, like you said, it's coming. 2 months.
Yeah, I know.
In a weird way, it feels like you just announced it, and then all of a sudden, like 4 months has gone by, and now the countdown's coming. So
Yeah.
everybody's getting ramped up. Everybody's getting excited. You're getting stressed out of your mind because there's a million things to do. But let's talk about that a little bit because what people may not know about you. And look, let me be clear. Even though I toot Cheryl's horn as being the ops wizard, and she has a tremendous team behind her. You cannot be a single person to put on an event this big, especially as head office has moved into an all-inclusive model, which everybody really loves because it keeps everybody together versus here's a hotel somewhere in North America and then everybody just goes off in pockets. Like, it's a wonderful experience that you guys have done since 2019 when you've been able to 3 or 4 times now so far.
Mhm.
But there's a lot that goes into it, and you do have a powerhouse team. I'm just going to shout out a couple of people in no particular order. We got Cecilia, we've got Jeff, we've got you, we've got Riley, we got Gennady, and so forth. But you guys do. Sorry, what? Forgive me. What is? I'm slipping here. What is the late Julie? Julie's a big
Julie,
powerhouse.
yeah, Julie is our event manager. She's been with us since actually 2018 convention. So that was in Montreal. And, you
Yeah,
know, we were just really needing to have someone with the more of the event manager background and hat to help us because there's a lot of moving parts. And I think production of the events have obviously increased since we've brought her on because she
big
thinks
time.
about it from a different perspective. So she's been great. And yeah, there's a lot of various home office people that come on site. So our on-site team, we meet weekly at our end. We have a convention team that just is all across all different components that meets to talk through all the various details. There's a lot that we have to consider and work through and talk through. I mean, there's agenda's big. Mike is obviously, very focused on agenda and that sort of stuff. But then, there's just things like communications and registrations, sponsors, getting sponsors on, but then like the event itself, what are those social events look like? What are we bringing and how are we setting it up? The theme, and actually this year, our theme for convention, we're kind of leaning into, being on water, but it's waves of innovation because we're in this, we're continually having to ebb and flow on all the things that are happening around us. And so we're kind of leaning in on that a lot as a theme. And then there's things like the nitty gritties. Like, you don't get a lanyard on your chest just because all of a sudden it appears there. There's a whole bunch of different things that happen to get that lanyard on your chest when you arrive.
And you're also organizing hundreds of people for a
Yeah.
week. like you said, everything from getting registered to getting your lanyard to the map of the tracks, to the events and how they have to move. Like you mentioned earlier, everything is time based because obviously we've got agendas for numerous days of what we've got to do, and you got to hit your times and you got to keep moving because you've got activities in the evenings. And so there's a ton of planning. So again, like, maybe I'm interested. I'm in a good mood today because I took my meds. But big shout out, no, big shout out seriously to the head office team and the convention committee. It's a very selfless act to have to put that much together. And again, it all has to come together. And like they say about having a child, even though I don't have kids and I know you do, but like it takes a village to grow a child. It takes a village to put on an event of this class. And on top of that, you got to cart now everything out of country versus just driving up the 401 to a hotel somewhere. You got to
Yeah.
bring everything down and make sure it doesn't get lost in transit. And does it get there? And oh my
Yeah.
God,
Well,
like
I mean,
your whole experience getting down there, to me, I need clonazepam just to calm down thinking about it from an anxiety perspective. I get to go and snore on a plane for, well, this year it's going to be like 9 hours with my
I
connections.
know, I know.
But,
Yeah.
like, that's, to me, that's stress, just even making sure my shit got down there so that it can roll like you guys planned to do. And then, maybe even to say, we'll take a step back, but like, then you get in the last convention, we get the tail end of a hurricane, and you guys got to adapt on the fly to try to say, what can we do, what can't we do, how are we going to get people here safely, making sure we adjust things and so on. So it's not just here's the plan and let's go. It's like you get there and it's like, we open this tap and it's leaking, this other one's on fire, and this one's running smooth, and we all got to figure out how to glue it back together. That hurricane, even though it was classified as category 1, not the lowest intensity because we just got the tail end of it.
Tropical storm. Yeah.
That was insane. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, I can't say I've been in a hurricane myself before, so it was definitely something to experience. Obviously, we must have just had our things really organized. So at some point, someone would just want to throw more at us to see how we would handle it. I mean, the great news is that the majority of people still got there and we still ran and we still went through. And so that was great. And I mean, for that stuff, like, there's always the people that are coming to our convention from our staff, like our on-site and that sort of stuff. But I mean, we still have to keep the lights going and keep stuff happening. So, we can only do that because we've got also the strong team back at the head office. And so the reason myself and a Cecilia and Jeff from marketing can go is because I've got a Rupinder and an Amrita back here, making sure things are all still happening. And the same would be for Rima and her staff and Mike and his staff and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of different coordination parts. I don't know why. I mean, just over the years, things have keep getting a little bit more easier. You always learn something after every event, even after all, like the however many, like when you guys get the t-shirts at convention, we always have like this concert list of all of our conventions we've ever had.
Yep.
And it's a long list of ones we've done, and we keep learning what should we do and what shouldn't we do for next time. But yeah, I think it's such an interesting, fun project to kind of take on and add on. It does. I mean, I'm already waking up in the middle of the night with convention things going through my head. So that happens already. But it's like I said, like once we get there, once we see everything, once we hear the feedback, I mean, it's all worth it to us in the end. And the reason we do it all is because we truly believe in the power of everyone getting together and learning together. We feel it is a fundamentally important thing as business owners, part of a network, to have and connect with each other in that way. While I think it's why our tagline has resonated so well when we came out with it, embrace digital, stay human. I'm not sure why we just didn't connect the dots on that earlier and have it way before. But yeah, I mean, we're talking virtually, but we do still have to have that level of human connection, I think, just as people. And so that affords that. And I know, there's always this concept of, the investment to get to a convention. And we understand that for sure, but we do think of it as investing in your business. And so you can bring those learning backs, investing in it to build those connections, to talk to not only just consultants but our suppliers. A lot happens on that front too, and all of a sudden there's stuff that comes out of that as well.
One thing you have to learn based on every convention is you have to learn that Fat Boy over here needs a double extra large T-shirt, because you always give me like a large and extra large, and then Baby Huey tries to put it on and it doesn't work. So can you make a note of that for you and Rima, that
Okay.
double
Add
extra large?
more sizes to our
Please.
t-shirt.
Okay.
I know. I hear it from Ryan Kelly because he wants a medium instead of.
Ryan just needs to start taking HGH, human growth hormone, and he'll all of a sudden be a 6'2" stud. But he needs a kid size T-shirt, and he'll slaughter me for that. But that's fine. What is your favorite part of convention? Because you are in so many different areas, especially how I see you as someone in the crowd. You are the primary, if you will, of the audio and visual department, in the sense of keeping that stuff going. You have really, in the last few years, and forgive me if I'm incorrect, but you've really taken more of a speaking role. You've been almost an MC. You've been somebody to you and Mike are a really great tag team of kind of bouncing off each other for the award ceremonies, the intermediaries between Val's presidential speech and Dan Monahan's founder speech, and other things like that. But you're everywhere. So what is there one thing that you're just like, this is my favorite piece of it, or this is my favorite part to watch it play on the screens or on the stage? What is it? What is it for you?
Yeah, I think it's a couple different things. So one
When
of
Mike,
my favorite
Mike,
parts,
Mike departs the resort and you don't have to deal with him
yeah,
anymore.
when Mike finally leaves and I can like let out a sigh of relief. No, I really enjoy, while I'm not sometimes not there all the time just because of coordinations. I love registration, just to see people come in and meet people. Um, and so I love that part. I do really, I mean, I love just kind of people watching and seeing people kind of interact with each other. So almost being like a fly on a wall and kind of seeing the things happen, like watching you guys in the pool. I can never get down to the pool, but watching you guys in the pool, just having fun. For me, I like just breathe, like not a sigh of relief, but like a sigh of accomplishment maybe. Once we hit that kind of last thing at the end of the event, and it's like, oh, we did it. Like everything kind of went off, people are happy, having a drink after our awards and just hanging out and chilling with everyone. I love that because it's kind of a different way to interact with people, and that you've been able to get it. And then for me, seeing some of the surveys come in and that we've done a good job is also the different parts.
Well, I don't know how you do it. And I guess my next question is, when it's over, and it is over, because what I've also realized about you, especially with the all inclusives, is you do take a micro vacation afterwards. Because obviously, when you get down there, it's work mode for that first 6 days. So you do
Mhm.
get some much, much deserved, like your team, some downtime. But how much do you sleep when convention's over?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
You must
you
you
guys
you
know
must
it's.
just conk it when your adrenaline can come down.
Oh yeah.
You must, that first night or two, you must just conk for like 12 hours and just need to rest.
Yeah. I mean, it is an adrenaline thing, right? Like anything you're prepping for, and that's what a lot of us run on while we're there, because, we are doing things and tweaking things. Yeah, I always try to take a day after at least at the resort, just to kind of like chill and relax, cuz I like there's been times where I haven't even been able to step out of the resort into the pool area until that last day, unfortunately. Like it just happens that it doesn't happen quite till then. So I always take that day, yeah, kind of always sleeping in, having like good rest. I mean, I like to enjoy the party that last night as well, and kind of like, release some of the adrenaline that way and have fun. But yeah, once I get home, there's definitely, you're just trying to like build back up because you're kind of exhausted a
And
little
then
bit.
and then on the Tuesday morning huddle, they're like, "Guess what, guys? We're going to start planning next convention." You're like, "No." Like, no, we could put that off for a few months. So I don't want to hear that
Yeah,
for
a few months. But no, but like we go right into like right after we'll go into debrief. Like we'll be like, okay, let's talk about what worked, what like what do we have to improve and all that sort of stuff while it's fresh in our minds, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, there's definitely time to settle in and enjoy. And so super happy that we have that opportunity. I've been lucky enough that not this time. I don't think it was the last couple times, but a few times I've even had my husband come out and enjoy a couple days after.
Yep.
I never bring him out during because I'm like, you will never see me. There is no point. Yeah, we've been able to take advantage of some of that as well. I think our first Cancun, we were celebrating. It was during our 10th anniversary, and so
Nice.
that's the first time he came out, and then we enjoyed a few days. But
I think if I
I'll
remember
be
correctly, I met him towards the latter end of Punta, right? Punta Cana.
He did, yeah. He
Yeah,
came
I
out.
remember we were sitting out where the live music was on that patio outside the
Yeah.
resort there, and I remember you were sitting with them, and then I stumble over, sweating, shirt's too tight and everything else, and like you went to get a drink, you're like, I got to get away from this guy, and then you
That
got
was-
your husband with me, and I sat there again because I'm nice, despite
yes.
what everybody says, and I raved about you. I'm like in his face, and I'm just like, your wife is a goddamn wizard, and like she is the creative genius, or whatever. And he's looking at me like, I don't know if I have to like punch you or you need to get away from me, and whatever else. And he probably thought I was the biggest creep, even though I was just trying to compliment you. But
Yeah.
I met him, and he's very nice, and you complement each other very well.
Oh, thanks for that.
None of that happened. He was actually very complimentary, but he probably thought I was a bit aggressive, like everybody. And he's like, "You're weird, dude."
I doubt it. I doubt it.
But that's a lot about convention, but that really is a big portion of what Cheryl gets into. But I want to shift gears a little bit. Actually, sorry, I want to ask you one more question about convention, and then let's move into a topic around AI, because that's the theme of everything. And I know you've got some great points to share there. Okay, so Punta Cana convention, everybody knows that I got dismantled by Jack at the end of his keynote. But I have to ask you now in confidence, even though this is going to go out on the wire.
In confidence.
Yeah, doesn't make any sense. So if you're the head of audiovisual with your team and so forth, how did that pumpkin-headed goof get that slide at the end of his presentation when you're navigating the audiovisual? Were you in on this?
No, I was not. I mean, obviously, I helped make sure that he's got his slides going properly, but I don't. You should actually take it up with Mike Monahan. He's the one that reviews the presentation.
Nice. Now I figured it out.
Throw him
It's
under
Mike.
the bus. No, but I don't even like remember all of that. Like,
Oh, I remember it. I've had many therapy
I
sessions.
mean, I know
about it.
you probably remember all of it, but it's not like something where I was like, he was like, "Can I do this or should I do?" Like, it didn't. I don't even think it hit our plate to review.
Jack's gonna ask for ask for forgiveness, not permission.
I know. I was tasked with making sure that his audio visual. There was a lot of walkthrough. I will just say of that presentation because there was timing of when the lights had to go up and him, and so I was more concentrating on that than anything else.
I really don't buy that as an answer, but I'll go with it. It's fine. I don't buy it at all because I remember when I presented in Punta, even though it was advanced train day, you're like, I need your slides. They're going to go on my laptop. I want to make sure everything's locked in and whatever else. So you're like policing, making sure everything is accurate. And Jack somehow gets that slide past everybody. There was somebody.
Well, I didn't review all your slides after I got it on the computer. I just needed to make sure I had them on the computer.
Well, I deserve it. It's fine. So I got a reputation to hold up. By the way, does this convention have a buffet?
I mean, I think all resorts have some level of buffet for sure.
All right. So enough convention. Punchline, WSI people, get to convention. It's going to be a good time. We haven't seen each other for almost a year and a half like this based on how we can space them apart.
Yeah.
June's coming. Get there. Knowledge is power. Lots of smart people, and we have a great time doing it. And, you know, make sure you don't ask Cheryl any questions when she's in work mode because she will probably say, go away.
That's not true. I mean, I'll
To me, it is.
smile. I'll smile
No, you'll
and,
smile, but you're like,
and
I'm
try my
busy.
best.
I've got to go. Thanks. So
Yeah.
let's shift gears a little bit. So, you know, head office has really doubled down on AI, and it's been in your lens probably since Punta Cana. That's going back almost 3 years now.
Mhm.
And I've said numerous times on this podcast, and I'll say it almost embarrassing. And I was very critical at the beginning because, like some ornery jackass, I'm like, "What are we doing?" And we're digital marketers, and blah blah blah. And now we're sitting here going, like, "Yeah, I get it now why they're doing it." But
Mhm.
how do you see things for the WSI network from your lens? Because you are part of head office, and I know you understand the mandate, and the mandate comes down from people like Dan and Val and others. But you are you are one of the biggest integrators there. So what are you seeing yourself of just how our network and the digital space, whether you want to call that digital marketing, and now we're transitioning into AI consulting opportunities and AI adoption opportunities, but how are you seeing it? Seeing it from where we announced it to obviously where we are today, and this convention, just in the sense of education, is going to be jam packed with things around AI because that's the buzz. But yeah, what are you seeing for the future? Knowing also where you started 20 plus years ago, and what we're talking about now, and how you've had to adapt your skills, and also what you're putting out in content, creativity, tools, and everything that you facilitate to get to us on things like virtual office so we can use them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think from our perspective, I mean, and for those that don't know, Val may have, I think, shared this on one of our open forums, but one of our annual goals is to modernize our core digital service offerings. And we're doing that through the lens, obviously, of how is AI impacting stuff? Because I don't think we can just put our head in the ground and ignore what's happening around us if we want to keep evolving as consultants, as a company, and all that sort of stuff. And so, obviously, we see it in a couple of different ways at our end. We see AI as its own offering, like whether through training, through consulting. We're seeing, I mean, the biggest opportunity right now, and as you guys know, we're leaning in on, is on the training part, because there's a big gap there on people getting effective training just for their business, but it is the lead in that makes sense into maybe more established consulting. But we also see our core digital marketing services still being like a key element of our business. We just know AI is impacting them in various ways, and that changes like how it impacted like how AI impacted SEO in 2023 was not even on the radar of what how it's impacting now. There
No
was
kidding.
no, we didn't have all the chat GPTs and all that sort of stuff when we met in Punta Cana. Like AI search wasn't this big thing. And so, obviously from our end, our mandate is we need to keep up to date on what's happening so we can make sure we're evolving and being still relevant to our clients and delivering that value that they need. And so that can come in the form of how they use AI more in their business specifically through consulting and education, but that also can come in the form of how is AI changing things on the core digital marketing services we have, and how do we have to adapt to that. Like our adaptive SEO and the book is all kind of built around trying to make sure our search strategies with our clients are moving with the tide, right? So, I mean, waves of intervention, moving with the tide. And, not only is it about all the stuff that you have done with clients, like all the foundational stuff is still valid and still good and can be done, but there is going to be more that has to be done in order for them to really optimize themselves for the LLMs, the ChatGPTs, the Claudes, and the Perplexities, and
Absolutely.
so
And
for us, it's not like I think when we may have come out with all this AI consulting stuff, and you tell me because I know you guys were also like, oh, yeah, like people just felt we were ignoring the digital marketing stuff and just moving to the AI stuff. But for us, we want to make sure we have strong offerings in both buckets because we know that we need to. And we just want to make sure we're not falling behind or ignoring the fact that AI is here and it is changing how things happen. I mean, websites alone could change a lot with AI, with things like Lovable and all that sort of stuff. Like that concept of how we develop websites or even how we develop landing pages and prototypes and design concepts will evolve just because of the tools that become available and how AI can plug into there. And so we have to stay kind of present and knowledgeable on all that sort of stuff so we can bake that back into what we offer as a company.
I think to your point, because you said to me like, "What do you think?" I think I agree with you. I think what was hard for I'll just speak for myself. What was hard for me is I'm practical, right? I'm ops. I don't work in theory. I don't want to hear that something's going this way and that way. I want to see it in real life. So it
Yeah.
was very hard to kind of adopt, if you will, not knowing the power of it because. What I didn't understand at that time is they say it's coming, but like anything, is it a shiny object? Is it something that's going to flatten out in 2 months? But the growing power of this technology and this intelligence, if you will, and now into practical usage. Because I've said this a lot too. I do believe AI is simply a tool. The humans are teaching it what to do. The humans are needed to humanize it and so forth. But it is a very powerful tool if you can sit there and understand how am I going to apply this for whatever I have to facilitate.
Yeah.
And I couldn't understand that in those Mike Kaput speeches at that time, and Dan with his keynote say this is where we're going. But that's also why, for example, Dan is a visionary,
Yeah.
and I'm the miserable integrator because I need to figure out how to do it versus just talk it and see farther than 5 feet in front of me. So, like even with the AI consulting, wasn't it all like, why are we doing this? I was impressed by it, but again, it's like it's something new, and it's like, how do you sell it, and how do you make it marketable, and how do you get confidence in something? Because I think everybody's afraid of the unknown, right? We're
Yeah.
creatures of being comfortable, and if you've been doing digital marketing for 5, 10, 20, 30 years, then that's your bread and butter of your confidence. And now it's like, go sell something net new. Now that is a product of overall digital, but that was what was hard for me, and that was my pushback because I'm sitting there going like, I don't have customers asking for this. I don't have
Mhm.
customers wanting knowledge. They want leads, they want digital marketing,
Yeah.
they want websites. But again, 3 years now have gone by, and the conversations are changing. Now we're seeing it, like you really well said about the search experience. How much has that changed in the last
Yeah.
6 to 8 months? It's staggering. But
Yeah.
none of us could predict this, and we can't predict the future of where agentic is going, where possibilities are going. You and I have both kind of understood, Clawbot, and reading on that with Seamus and Robert and everything of where potential that's going to be as they
Yeah.
put guardrails on that. Like the options are endless, but what I love what you said, and I think that's important for people listening, is it's not replacing the core fundamentals of what WSI as a network built their foundation on. It's giving options for people based on what they're comfortable, what they're interested in, and making their unique selling proposition unique. Because you said at the beginning of our recording here about the WSI network, our people are the differentiator. Neil just recorded with me, and we'll be dropping him in weeks to come. But he said the only thing that we have to differentiate ourselves in this commodity centric business is our people. So if we can stand out as WSI consultants to be able to talk, educate, and do things that other agencies can't because of what we're being fed, because of what we're investing, getting certified in, then it's going to make us unique so that we can stand out versus, hey, I'll help you get your website ranked like everybody's putting out there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and like you said, some people won't be strong with digital marketing, and that's okay because now you can have your WSI franchise no matter whether you're 3 months in, 6 months in, or 2 years in. but you can shift the lens and say, well, I'm really enamored with AI, and I'm really enamored. I'm a good consultant versus a fulfillment person, and I can go work that market where there's so much untapped potential right now versus getting into the, I call it like, the beehive of just a million digital marketers saying the same shit.
Yeah. Well, and I think, that's where, levels of flexibility in our offering, people can niche in different things, and that's okay. We have
Mhm.
some digital marketing consultants who are now just focusing on AI because
Yep.
that's where they're just leaning towards, and that's great. But and then we have some that are, still leaning in on the key things. It's just a matter of, okay, well, what does that mean now in today's like digital environment? I mean, I don't think you can be a digital marketing company for 30 years without having to navigate change in a very kind of strategic, flexible way, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Y- I mean, change definitely isn't for. I mean, it's hard, guys. Change is hard. Things are changing all the time, um, and we get that. But it's easier for us to move towards things if we're moving. It's harder to move if you're not moving yet. And so I think our the strategy here was, we know this is going to be something that's going to come. Let's start moving and figuring it out so that it makes sense. So when we are, and we're, I mean, things are changing, and we have to adapt. We're learning even today, like, what do people need as it relates to, anything right now on search, on AI, and that sort of stuff. And that's where you'll see us leaning in on more things. Like AI training is something where people are really asking and needing more details. So we're really focusing and building that whole AI campus approach because of that. AI search, so building that more into, our search offering and all that sort of stuff, and getting up to speed on what that looks like. And so I think just kind of be, I mean, for us, we've always had to be in a constant kind of little bit of flow of movement because we know things just keep evolving.
Well, on the note of certifications and education and AI, I would like to pay you another compliment. And I know, again, there is a dense team behind this, and not just you, but you are an integral piece of this. And I just spent 3 days in the AI certification program, and thankfully passed because I thought I would fail. Somebody let me through. But I also posted on Work Vivo today. I meant it. I
I
was
know I
very I
saw.
was very impressed. I can be critical and ornery and everything else, but I think this is some of the best subject matter and education, and a streamlined package of a dense amount of stuff, tools, documentation, process, that you guys have put together. And everything is not for everyone, but it really opened my eyes in those 3 days, between the role playing and learning and understanding. I said to Mike when he was asking for feedback, I was just like, I was very impressed, and it kind of filled my cup again to look at opportunity, and, like you said, to have more options in my toolkit so that I can work with my Peter to continue to evolve our agency, to be relative, to be differentiate ourselves in competing against other companies, and to be better educated. So a big shout out to your AI team at head
Mhm.
office for what you guys have put together. It was very impressive versus, like, let's just watch a bunch of slideshows and, good for you. It was very powerful, and everybody from newer ICs to some of us more tenured on there were just blown away. So thank you very much for that.
Appreciate that feedback. I know a lot goes into the team putting that together, and so I know they really enjoyed your post on Work Vivo. So thanks for that.
Oh, no problem at all. Okay, we got to start winding down a little bit because I would love to talk to you for another hour, but you don't want that. So, I have another question for you, which is always a theme with me with ops people. Is you talked about what you love about ops at the beginning.
Mm.
Now, what do you hate?
What do I hate about operations?
Hi,
Yeah.
Cheryl. Are these UTM parameters correct? Can you let me know? Thanks.
Listen, I mean, I always feel it's on the UTMs. I always feel like weird when I have to like. So does everyone know what a UTM is? Because I feel like I talk about them all the time, but
When
I
I know
don't.
what a UTM is, but I had what people are thinking is I didn't just pull that out of my ass. That was
Yeah,
me. I sent her an email yesterday. Like I've been doing digital marketing for 17 years. I know what UTMs are. I know how to
yeah,
do them. But I'm like, is this right, Cheryl? She's like, yes, Mike, it's right. Just push it out for Christ's sakes. What's the matter with you? Cheryl, everybody, Cheryl is my go-to. There are so many different people at head office you can go to for support, and they also have a support email that literally goes into a ticketing system. And I bypass all that. I just go to Cheryl for anything,
yeah.
always. And she's like, "Oh God, no, no, delete my email, Mike." Anyways, back to you. What do you hate about ops? What drives you nuts? What pisses you off? What makes you want to scream and just burn it to the ground?
Mhm.
My favorite
Um,
part of the podcast.
it's your favorite part, man. I better have a good answer, and I'm trying to think through. I mean, for me, like things that might like just irk or annoy me are, everyone obviously everyone thinking everything's important all the time and and
Everything.
feeling like you got to get everything together all at once. I mean, also with AI has been great, but it's also a little bit like now that people are like, we'll just do that really fast with AI. Can't we get that done right now? Can't we just do that? And I'm like, I don't know, like it's not just about throwing stuff in AI, guys. There's so many iterations that happen when we do stuff and look at things. So sometimes, no, it's not just about getting things done fast. I mean, I'm a proponent of a project plan. I don't love putting project plans together myself. So like the nitty-gritty of like, although like I do like it just for organization purposes, and but I kind of do it just to have something to scratch off, like to feel like I've accomplished something. But like thinking through and going through all that stuff sometimes is I'd rather just get started and get going. So like having to sometimes take that break, and think through stuff or on that front. um, there's just also lots of meetings. There's lots of meetings with things. And so,
Ops people just want to work.
yeah,
They're good at working. You said at the beginning, I need to get shit off my list. I need to cross this
yeah,
off. I need to feel like I got stuff done and whatever else. And then meetings, 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 and then like you said, then you're burning the midnight oil trying to catch up on operational fulfillment because all day you're in meetings.
yeah.
Just
I
want to
mean,
work.
and my brain is structured to, I've just structured it to think of all these details. So I don't love that sometimes I can't shut my brain off to think through it when I want to shut my brain off. And then it wakes me up at like 2:30 in the morning, and then I can't fall asleep again until 4 because I'm just going through all the stuff.
You need to
So
drink. You need to drink more.
I need to drink more. Yeah. I'm trying, you know what I'm trying? Actually, what
You're gonna say I'm trying to cut back.
I'm trying to cut back. No, I'm trying. I'm trying hot yoga and fitness right now,
Good for
actually,
you.
to be my like distressor at the
Good for
moment.
you.
Yeah.
How's it going for you? You enjoying it?
Good. Yeah, like a location just opened up nearby. I'm actually headed there for a class at 6 o'clock.
Good.
Um, but yeah, no, it's nice. I find like sometimes you just need time to break away and shut the laptop down. Because I'm someone that'll just keep working and working and working. Um, and it lets me kind of de-stress, but also, man, I do have two kids, both heavily involved in sports, so not a lot of the time can I take time for my own stuff, so it's forced me to do that a bit more.
So there's a theme here as we wind down, and I've said this because I've been very fortunate to have numerous guests, very, very powerful, smart, intelligent women. And I've said in a couple podcasts haven't dropped yet, but I have said it's very interesting, at least in our WSI network, that ops guys, like I've monikered myself the ops guy just for fun, but there's not a lot of ops guys.
Mm,
I am outnumbered by an extreme amount of powerful, smart, creative ops women. And you're in there, and I've said, like I said, Cynthia, Cecilia, Christina Pilarski, Denise Bowen, Heidi Schwendy, you know, you get the keep the going. And I'm missing again tons of Valerie, but like there
Mm.
are so many smart women. So, like I keep saying to people, hire ops women because they're smarter, hire ops women because they're going to produce a better product. And I need to figure out somebody else in this network that's going to try to like support me because I am outnumbered. I'm in a mastermind with Denise and Cynthia and everything else, and I'm the only guy. I'm the only guy. And I just put myself on mute. I'm just like, I just need to be quiet because, you know, you can learn a lot from these women. But this is an interesting theme I've got going on. They're going to be like, oh, you just invite women to be guests. I'm like, no, it's because they're the smartest people in the bloody network. Sorry, guys, but it's the truth. Man, oh, man. And on that note,
Finally, someone's recognizing.
oh, I recognized it a long time ago. Women rule my life. Christ, they just tell me what to do. Like, let's not kid ourselves. My mom's a strong woman. My wife's a strong woman. The
Yeah.
women around me in operations were like, Mike, just shut up and do what you're told. Okay, no problem. But, you know, you have really been one of those people that I admire. And I mean that sincerely because I can't figure out how you do it. I know there's a team behind you, but
Yeah.
you're a major part of that. And like you said, you have two boys that are growing and are busy. You have a husband. You have a director role. You spearhead convention with your team and so forth. Like the battery you have, like other moms that are just dominating life and ops and work and everything else. It's very impressive. I can barely keep my shit together for 8 hours in the ops day. And then you're like, yeah, I got to go play mom now and try to go get hot yoga in. And I'm going to not sleep all night. And I'm going to come tomorrow on open forum and present to you all. Like, I don't get it. You're going to have to teach me one of these days how to do it.
I don't know. Like I said, just grew up that way, needing to get stuff done and taking on a lot. I don't know. That's just how I
Well,
was
like
structured.
my original op song that I chose to disclose, which I still have my favorite line in there, which is that song's around Mike Monahan, as you know, and my favorite line is Thursday open forums, you're always there, but Cheryl's the one that we all want, creative wizard or whatever. That pops me every time. It's one of my favorite lines because it basically blasts Mike saying, "I don't care you're on camera, but we want Cheryl," and that's going to be like my forever legacy of way I paid respect to you and saying like get that guitar playing guy off the camera. We need more Cheryl in our lives from the ops side. But you better make sure that you don't edit or remove any of my dare to Mike Monahan because that's already blown up in my face. I positioned
Has
that
it?
whole thing around an AI song versus AI song battle. And Mike gets on, I don't know how he misread it, but he's like, okay, well, I'll write a real song and play it on my guitar. And then you'll come on, to stage and we'll play your stupid AI song or whatever else. I'm like, how did this happen? Like he's
I
a
know. I
musician.
mean,
I'm going to get buried.
Mike, it's on my list of things I have to now do for convention on where do I fit in this music.
Sorry.
It's okay.
It's going to be fun.
Anyways, I'm sure you're going to be featured on our welcome reception or
Oh,
somehow
it's
with
going
a
to be a hoot.
duo.
Whatever you want to
Yeah,
do, we're going to have a hoot with it because I did it on purpose to make people laugh.
yeah,
And that's the thing is let's have fun with this. And also what I want to do with that in that, 2 minutes that we do it or whatever, and you find a place is it ties into AI is look at what Mike can do, a skilled musician, and
yeah,
he's amazing. And look what technology is allowing someone that has no music ability, no rhythm, no whatever to produce. It's not to show at all, guys, that Mike Monahan can be beaten. It's to show is look at what the technology allows us to do now to have fun, to be creative and do stuff. And you were the person that introduced me to Suno when I was in the back throwing lasers at you guys with your campy sales jingles or whatever. And then I'm sitting all the way home on the plane going, I got to play with this a little bit. And now here I am building an album on Spotify for my own
there you
music.
go. There you go.
We're going to have fun with it. And I'll probably trip up onto the stage and make an ass of myself. And we'll have a good
Okay,
time.
so note to self, put you on earlier in the night.
All right, well done. Whenever you want, I'll be ready, and we're gonna have a great time with it. But it's time to go. Like she said, she's got to go to hot yoga. She's got kids to feed,
Sorry,
and
guys.
I got work to do. So, Cheryl, like I do for any of the guests, Where can people find you, specific to, just connecting, whether it's LinkedIn? Obviously, you're part of WSI World and that's your mainstay. But if you want to connect, where can they find you on LinkedIn? Probably the best way to connect with you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for definitely I'm on LinkedIn if you want to connect there. I'm also very reachable for any of our consultants on the call. I mean, shoot me an email whenever you have a question. Or you can use Work Vivo and tag me in like Mike does on things that he posts and then I can comment in. But yeah, definitely any of those channels.
Well, um, if you haven't met Cheryl for whatever reason, then you're doing something wrong. Like I said, she is a familiar face with the biggest smile as soon as you see her. Make sure that if you haven't met her formally or spent 5 minutes with her, see if you can grab her at convention when she's not knee deep in the agenda, because she is one of the special people at WSI World. I don't know what WSI World would be without you, truthfully. I think really you are one of those people that you're a catalyst for energy. You make people feel welcome, and you are the creative spearhead that puts a lot of the stuff that we rely on, depend on, need in an organized manner so we can utilize it. And I appreciate you very much, and I really am appreciative that you have come on today to talk ops and to talk convention and WSI. And see, it wasn't that bad.
No, it was, yeah, no, it was good, painless. I wonder how much you're gonna edit out,
Not much.
but yeah, for everyone, anyone listening in our network, I'm excited to see you guys at convention. Please come up and say hi. I'm never too busy to say hi, even if I might look it slightly. I'm never too busy.
Well, make sure that you save me one of those big Cheryl hugs. I look forward to
Will
those once a
do.
year. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you can find the Angry Ops Guy. We're on Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Angry Ops Guy _ WSI. New AI songs around ops mental hell that I put out on Ops 285, my moniker band on Spotify, to make people laugh and jam out to some pop punk. And also, there may be a Angry Ops Guy website coming soon, so keep an eye for that when I drop it. But me and Cheryl got to get out of here, get to convention, and more guests coming. Cheryl, thanks again. Love you.
Thanks for having me, Mike. Appreciate it.
Sorry, Ops Mike, your email went to junk.